If there's one thing that cultures in Southeast Asia and mainland Asia share, is the idea of the serpent. In Chinese culture, it is the dragon, which figures in a lot of their artworks. So if there's something very common about Chinese culture and Southeast Asian, including Philippine culture, it's the idea that the serpent is a protector. And that's what's something wonderful about it. I mean, the dragon is usually the protector of sacred spaces, no? And in this case, it's a place of love, no? Where we take our loved ones into their final resting place. No? It guards important, sacred, beloved spaces within our lives.
Thanks to the efforts and boundless imagination of BOYSEN, and one of the country's most prolific visual artists, Toym Imao, we can now unravel and relive an epic Filipino adventure. They will paint the story on the walls, ensuring that it will live on in our collective memory for generations to come.
So I'm Toym Imao. I'm a visual artist and also a teacher at the UP College of Fine Arts. And what I do generally are public art. I do a lot of installation works that are ephemeral or only temporary, which usually deals with societal and political concerns. No? My art installations are usually alternative imaging of history. For me, it's very important that I work with both platforms. No? Something that our institutions wants us to understand yung mga narratives about our history, about our people. These are necessary and essential narratives that the people should know. When BOYSEN approached me regarding this particular project and they told me that it's going to be in the walls that surrounds the Chinese cemetery, I was immediately excited about it because over the past several years, I've been seeing the murals that BOYSEN has worked with, and they're really great artists that I respect, colleagues, and it's fantastic that we go beyond what we usually see in an urban landscape, just the grays, white walls, But right now, you encounter art in your daily commute, and it's very refreshing, to see, other than commercialized billboards, actual artworks for people to enjoy even in passing. So for me, this was my chance to, now it's my turn. What will I come up with? And being very, very historically grounded, whenever I do public art, it can register from a distance as eye candy. It's something beautiful, pero once you come closer and we want further scrutiny about what is this artist trying to say, there's something more that can be offered. And that is why I inspired by the past works that BOYSEN has done with various artists throughout the years. I wanted to bring something out from the coffers of history and put a visual take on it. And that's what I've been afforded to with this collaboration with BOYSEN, the opportunity to tell a story. With regards to the historical context of the main composition that flanks the main gate of the Chinese cemetery, I took inspiration from one very beautiful story in our history, and it is the time when Paduka Pahala, one of the Sultan of the Three Kingdoms of Sulu during that period in the 1400s, visited the Yongle Chinese Emperor Zhu Di in China, together with 300 of his constituents of noble descent. They paid tribute and visited the emperor. And that was fully appreciated by the young emperor, that this young leader from the south went all the way to see him and establish friendship within their own individual communities. When I visited the cemetery, it was like the height of the pandemic lockdown. So literally, it's a cemetery. It looks like a ghost town talaga. and visiting the wall outside, and I came to appreciate how immense that this project is going to be, no? But at the same time, it's so ideal. I mean, the walls are perfect, and it's beside something historically significant cemetery that is part, no, of Manila's history. I told myself, so what am I going to do with this wall? I have to at least reference also the Chinese community's part, no, in this entire narrative, no? So I was thinking, no, Manila being one of the oldest capital, it was founded basically by mga Muslim settlers, no? It struck me. Suddenly I remember a story, no, about a Tausug Sultan, no, Datu, who went to China in the 1400s, no, together with around 300 constituents of noble descent.
It is the year 1417. The Sulu Sultanate embarks on a monumental voyage, wherein its three kings lead a diplomatic mission to Beijing to pay homage to the third emperor of the Ming Dynasty, the famous Yongle Emperor. Joining them is an entourage of 340, including wives, ministers, and other personnel who help present fine gifts to the Yongle Emperor, such as pearls, a hawksbill shell, precious stones, and tortoise shells. The noble gesture by the Sultanate of Sulu's party is deeply appreciated by the Yongle Emperor, who particularly befriended the Eastern King of Sulu, Sultan Batara. After a momentous 27-day stay in China, the Sultanate of Sulu's party is ready to head back home, carrying with them a trove of Chinese treasures, caparisoned horses, silk, and copper coins, all gifted by the emperor. Unfortunately, tragedy strikes. Sultan Batara dies of a mysterious illness while in transit in the prefecture of Dezhou. And upon his burial there, so too was this important piece of our history buried with him. When word of Sultan Batara's death reached the Yongle Emperor, the Chinese ruler was so affected that he ordered an imperial burial for his new friend. A large tomb with a memorial arch was constructed as the resting site for Sultan Batara in Dezhou. Other than his body, his younger son stayed behind with his wife and 10 aides to tend to his mausoleum, as prescribed by the Chinese custom of a 3-year mourning period. And the 3 years expanded into more than 3 centuries, as Sultan Batara's family, who remained in Dezhou, became part of the Hui nationality. They now serve as a living testament of his memorialized bond of Muslim Filipinos and the Chinese.
And that is why the entire wall, the main features will feature, no, the idea of the meeting of 2 dragons, no. This long wall surrounding is basically protecting, and being the dragon is a protective image, no? And if we would relate it to Filipino culture, we have our version of the dragon, and we call it the naga in pre-colonial periods, no? The naga is a serpent, no? This is primarily seen in some of the artworks, folk artworks that we have. The panolong that are attached to the torogan is basically an open-mouthed naga or dragon, and it's meant to protect the perimeter of the nobleman's house, no? The torogan. So these wall murals are opportunities for us to share, no, artistic works, no, in the public sphere. This is free for them to appreciate. That's basically the driving force why I am so excited to work on this particular project, because this is also an extension of my own personal advocacies of putting art out there for people to appreciate freely. In the wall, I'm also inspired by graffiti art. You have to acknowledge that it is a wall, and what comes on the wall, what art forms are popular graffiti. That is why graffiti is basically based on tagging names, no? And in this case, I identified some beautiful words in the Filipino language that somehow relate to honoring the dead or remembering loved ones. Words like pag-aalay, pag-alaala, pagmamahal, respeto, pagpupugay, paggunita, paghandog, pagdarasal, pagbabalik tanaw. The only way that we can educate our audiences is by really putting out art out there. I think that's the response that we want to have. They like it for it to stay because it connects with them and it livens up an otherwise very boring wall. Behind that very boring wall is a cemetery pa. And celebrate the color of life despite it being a place where we honor our dead and remember our dead. I wanted to focus more on commonalities and linkages between two very distinct cultures and how we can celebrate them together in one art form. We want to present people with narratives beyond what they read in the headlines. That there is a bigger thing that has happened between this particular culture that is worth memorializing, commemorating, and celebrating through this mural work. We should dig deeper and look into the people themselves, their rich cultural history, personalities within that particular history who exemplify the best of their individual cultures. With this mural, we humbly hope that we become part of that effort in promoting a better understanding between Filipinos and Chinese in this country.
Today, Sultan Batara's tomb stands as a heritage site in China, where the words reverent and steadfast are inscribed on his memorial tablet. Centuries since his death, Filipino-Chinese trade and relations evolved, with more immigrants flocking to the archipelago. At present, over 25% of Filipinos have Chinese ancestry. One of the pillars of the Chinese heritage in the country is the Manila Chinese Cemetery since its establishment in 1843, serving as a final resting place for generations of Filipino Chinese of various religions and beliefs. The Manila Chinese Cemetery now tells this beautiful story of friendship and tradition for ages to come.